Hey, what's going on, my friend? Welcome to another episode of Unlocking Excellence with your main man, Eric Schwafel. How are you doing today? Are you ready to open the door? Open the door to new opportunities, open the door to excellence, open the door to the new you. That's what we do here. I've got the keys. I'm going to give you a few of them today. Remember, those keys are the tips, the tricks. They are the downloads. It's the data. It's the insight that you must have in order to open the door until you realize there is no door. But that's going to be a little bit more meta and matrix for another day. Today, I want to share with you some stories, the Aesop's Fable stories. These stories have so much wisdom, so much insight, so much meat per story. And I've been diving a little bit deeper into each one, really like dissecting it, but like a little bit, not too much, right? I can definitely beat a dead horse. I can do that pretty easy. And so I have been trying my best to move or not do that. Not do that. All right. So hopefully you're getting everything. Maybe go back, listen to a few of those fables once or twice because you can share those fables with people you know. Man, this is what I love too, is these podcasts are so the Aesop's Fable ones, they're so short, right? Most of them are under 10 minutes, even shorter than that. And the beautiful thing is you can share these stories, you can make these stories a minute long, you can make these stories 4 minutes long, right? The two that you're gonna hear today are very, very short stories, very short stories. So we'll be in and out of this real quick. And you can tell this to a kid. You can use it as a lesson, right? The flatterer story from a few podcasts ago, if you haven't listened to it, you can use that as a story to somebody and who encountered a flatterer, somebody who was very flattering and didn't have their best interest at heart, right? You can show different TV episodes and different movies and show how these relate to the stories at hand. There's so many ways where you can share these stories and you can make them fun for who you share them with too. I'll give you an example. I mean, have you heard of the story of the cat and the birds? You haven't. All right, well, let me share this with you. It's number 13 on Aesop's Fables. And it's a short and sweet story, but it's got a lot of depth to it. I hope you're ready, okay? So thanks for listening. A cat heard that the birds in an aviary were ailing. If you don't know what an aviary is, go look at that. It's a bird home. So he got himself up as a doctor and taking with him a set of instruments proper to his profession, presented himself at the door and inquired after the health of the birds. We shall do very well, they replied, without letting him in, when we've seen the last of you. A villain, the lesson here, a villain may disguise himself, but he will not deceive the wise. Oh, this feels like a Tom and Jerry episode for me with Tweety Bird and with Sylvester, right? So you can tell that story to somebody. Did you hear the story about the cat and the birds? So no, I didn't hear about it. Okay. Well, a cat heard that a bunch of these birds were not feeling well, so he went to their home. But before he did, he dressed up like a doctor. He took the instruments with him. He took everything that the doctor needed, the stethoscope. He got real nice and proper, real professional. And when he went to the door and he knocked on the door and he asked about the birds, hey man, how are y'all feeling? The birds ended up saying, we'll do very, very well. We'll be so much better when we've seen the last of you, when we don't see you anymore. And then the cat kind of looked like shocked. He had his hand on his chest and he said, well, okay, then I guess I'm going to go. And you can even make the story go further from there. He tried to barge in and the birds, I don't know, they dumped some water over his head, right? They had a bucket of water overhead. They dumped it on his head. And what was the moral of the story? A villain may disguise himself, but he will not deceive the wise. And so remember, it's so important. Gold and silver are great, but wisdom and guidance from on high, woo, will take you to another levels. So great story, right? You can share that real quick. You can see and you can start connecting where there is opportunity in order to share this. And then maybe this one will be another one to add to it. So this one's called the Spendthrift and the Swallow, right? This is number 14. So a spendthrift who had wasted his fortune, had nothing left but the clothes in which he stood, he saw a swallow one fine day in early spring. Thinking that summer had come and that he could now do without his coat, he went and sold it for what it would fetch. A change, however, took place in the weather that very same day, and there came a sharp frost, which killed the unfortunate swallow. When the spendthrift saw the dead body, he cried, "Miserable bird, thanks to you I am perishing of cold myself." One swallow does not make summer. Mm, mm, mm. Reminds me of the groundhog, right? Reminds me of don't count your eggs till they're hatched. Reminds me of don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? Don't rely on one thing to determine a full thing. Don't rely on a drop of water to discover the ocean. Don't rely on a drop of water to lead you to the ocean, right? Because it's just a drop of water. It's not part of a river. It's not part of something, something much bigger than that. So however that story can relate to you, right? You can put it, you can show it to somebody, you can tell it to someone, and then in that way you have passed on the wisdom and the keys to excellence that you received. So my friend, I love you so much. I hope that you're having an amazing day. And if you enjoyed these stories, please share them out. Tag me if you can tag me and say what you loved about this, right? What was the thing that called out to you? Maybe it was the great storytelling, or maybe it was the story itself. Maybe it was Aesop or Aesop's Fables, and you haven't heard it before and you want to spread some news about that. I don't know. So with that, have a great one. I'll talk to you soon. You're unstoppable. Peace.